I've been wanting to ask you, um, what you said you're in England right now, right?
Yes.
What does the news report about America outside of America?
Honestly, it's, usually it's some insane story from Florida. It's not so. It's weird because it's kind of like half idealized, but also half making fun of. Um, and not in like a mean way, but I think there is a general tone of England feeling a little bit superior. Um,
That's
and
yeah, high society. Oh,
I mean, America's the same way, generally
yeah,
speaking.
kind of like that.
oh well, yeah. I think a lot
I
of
know,
Americans feel superior as well.
I mean, that's almost any country.
Yeah.
They have a sense of nationalistic
Yeah, at that
pride,
point, it probably is just a country thing.
It's his patriotism.
group identity.
I mean, I think one thing that we kind of seem to, specifically what we report in America, tends to be any news that could affect us. So anything violent that America has done that could like start a war that would involve us. There is a few twin cities actually. Like the city I'm with now is actually twinned with a city in America. I forget which one. But sometimes you get news in my city of the twin city that's like, oh, someone did something nice over there, they set up a charity or whatever.
Huh.
But generally, America is seen as quite important in the news, more important than any other country, apart from like France. Because you guys are like, just because you speak English, I think. If you guys didn't speak English, surely would not care about you. But most of the news here is just about here. It's quite local.
Okay.
There is in like culture in general and the opinions on America in general, it's very integrated. Like if there's an issue in America, England, like, it may not necessarily be in the news, but through the internet, people who are English will hear about it and start trying to care about it. And America seems to dominate the internet. I don't know why. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just because I speak English, so I get mostly American media.
Well, probably because it's
but-
larger. It's like the largest English-speaking country, so that makes sense.
It also has a heavy amount of influence too, so you're bound to have more media coverage as a result.
And I find a lot of like English people do care about American issues. Like I can't think of an American issue off the top of my head. Guns, I guess. If you go up to like an English person, they'll have very strong gun opinions, even though that's not an issue here. There's no debate over here. It's just because of how it is in America.
All these people that have never held a gun or know anything about them feel really strongly about it.
Yeah, very true. And people who have a gun feel strongly about it, and people who have held a gun and don't want to again feel strongly about it, and the vice versa. Guns are a very...
You're right. It's
well,
a charged subject on every end of it. You're right.
To be fair, you don't have to be a part of a system to objectively analyze outside of it, the implications of it at the very least, or try to objectively analyze through your subjective filter.
Yeah.
But you can see the results of what things do without taking part of them. Just like you don't have to be... Obviously, this is a more charged example, and it's not perfectly analogous to guns in any way. But we can make claims about murder and how that's not something that we want to instill in our culture as a general rule of thumb that's okay. Maybe you go down the rules, and certain murders or certain killings are better than others, or certain ones are more morally acceptable, but we don't have to commit a murder in order to understand it. Or same thing with racism. I can fully understand racism and the way that it works and the ideology behind it. The only thing I can't understand is how it feels to be discriminated against on the basis of my skin. That doesn't say anything about whether I'm allowed to speak on it or not. As long as I'm not making claims about, it doesn't feel that bad to be discriminated against in this way or that, or what have you. You can say it's bad on general for people if you want to live a more productive society to instill racist ideas.
To respond to that, one, your view of like murder, I do see that as similar to the gun control, because it's essentially a death penalty, which is some places like it, some places don't. Just like guns, some people like in Denmark, only the authority can have, only police can have guns, which in America would seem crazy because you guys do not trust your police. But in Denmark, they're fine with it. In England, there's no guns whatsoever, apart from special occasions.
Wait, hold on. Even officers don't use guns?
In England, no. There are some specially trained police officers who come out if there's because there are guns in England every now and again, so they'll have some people trained for it. But you would not believe how seriously gun crime is taken here. Like, someone shot a window near where I lived when I was a kid. They didn't steal anything. They just had a gun and shot at a window. I think it was like an empty shop, and they were just kids messing around. They bought one online or something, not legally. And then they had specially trained police officers. They put so much resources into finding out who had this gun, how did they get into the country, and they did end up finding, the kid and taking the gun off them, and they got charged pretty severely because so few gun crimes here. It is taken really they put a lot of effort into it, a lot of resources.
Sure, and you have I guess you also have like Japan. They don't really. I don't believe the officers use guns, generally speaking, either. The only way they're allowed to have a gun is if they have to pass a series of psychological tests, and then they're only allowed to have it in a specific room, in a safe with like certain amount of codes to unlock it or what have you, and that reduces gun crime over there quite heavily. So
I don't know if that's the way to go. I don't know if because even though gun crime is prevalent in America, murder crime is also prevalent here. It's just that guns are used as a method rather than blunt objects and knives.
Right.
So I don't know if guns
that's
are
more
a
of
good
an
thing.
argument for.
I don't.
So just in case you guys didn't know, when you remove guns from an area, crime rates go up, and that is statistically true across countries that have done that.
It goes up with other things, like Britain or the UK has a far higher knife crime, and that's a big problem over there than they do here in the States. But it's more about the implications of what you can do with a tool. Sure, if you want to reach out with a tool and cause harm, you can do it with any tool. But the argument would be with a gun is it's far easier to hurt more people, kill more people with a gun than you would be able to with a knife or some other kind of object like that.
So it's like blaringly obvious to me, and this is a really simple concept. If you make guns illegal, that takes guns out of the hands of people who want to protect themselves. If you're going to commit a murder, you generally do not use a gun you purchase from a store. You usually have a gun through other means, right? Mm-hmm. And that's ideal because they can't trace it. So if you make guns illegal, you're not taking them out of the hands of crime syndicates that can get them still, that are obtaining them illegally. They're already obtaining them illegally. Making them illegal doesn't stop that.
Sure. And
so you are only taking them away from people who want to obtain them legally and defend themselves.
And hey, I just realized you can make selling illegal guns illegal.
Oh, dude, you fixed the issue. That's it.
That'll stop
Just
them.
make crime illegal. God, police, what are you doing?
Eureka!
I mean, that's why here in the States, I'm not sure. Maybe for some countries it would work better, but here in the States, I'm not sure that making guns illegal as a whole would be a good idea. I think that would be
I think that's a horrible idea.
But I think, and even most people agree with this, I feel, in the States, even those who are gun advocates, that there could be better evaluations for who is allowed to
Of course, we could do. Yes, we
have
can.
those guns.
We can do way better background checks and screenings. That's absolutely true, and we should.
As it stands now, you can just go into a gun show and purchase however many guns you want, and I don't believe you have to have a gun license to do so, if I remember correctly. It really doesn't take much.
I know that underage people can get guns from like gun fairs pretty easily without much trouble.
So better policing would be good, but making it illegal is not the solution.
Making more
Yeah, do you remember
legalities
when,
that make it harder.
well, you won't remember because you weren't alive, but when Prohibition was a thing in America, when you guys banned alcohol, and then crime rates
And
just
that went
soared.
wonderfully. That was exactly the way they anticipated that going.